Okay, so welcome back. I'm going to do this as part 2 of the video of the Xyz Proturn rebuild. There it is, and we pulled more of it apart and I want to show you what I found. So obviously we know that the bed is in a bit of a state, and now I've taken the saddle off and I've taken the cross slide off. Basically almost everything bar the electrical cabinet is now off the machine. You can see along the back here all the mounting for the X-axis motor and all the cable carriage and the track, everything's been removed, and this is what we found. So this is the underside of the cross slide, and this is tersite or similar, I'm not too sure. Now I don't know if this is original. I think it is, because if you look at the underside there, here's the original pattern. Now that's obviously milled in like that pattern for a reason, and that's to kind of etch it and give it a nice surface for the tersite to grip to. If not, it probably wouldn't bond very well. So it was still on this side, but it literally crumbled as I took it out. Now this side, you can see how badly pitted it is, and pieces missing, and as you come up here, big chunks missing. Now here's the X-axis ball screw. Now it's not horrendous. As I said before, this seems pretty good. It doesn't sound the best, but what I'm going to do is, it's not a massive job. I'm going to refit these once the machine is done, and with the new bearings in, I'm going to check them. But as said, it's not terrible. I could only measure about 0.2 backlash in this, and that could have been the bearings, because the rear nut on this end goes at the back, and it has a pair of matched ball bearings. They're roller bearings, or are they? They're just a ground pair. These are the ones that we took out. Now the nut and everything that compresses them all in, which is in here. Let's grab this. It was a little bit loose. So you have a lock nut in there, and then you have that tab where you bend over the sections to keep it in place. Now they weren't bent over and it wasn't done up. The other thing I found was not a very good condition pulley, where chips and debris got in there and kind of chewed it up a little bit. So depending on price, I might replace all them along with the ones that go on the motor. Same sort of thing, chips and debris got in there and it's just chewed it up a little bit. So we will see. So anyway, the saddle on the cross slide, the tersite that's on there is obviously ancient and very worn down. So there's not much of that left. I'm guessing it used to be a lot thicker than that. And then the same on the underside of the saddle here. Now you can see there's big pieces missing. Again, it's pitted. There was a lot of brass under here. There's a lot of brass everywhere, to be fair, in the machine. So it seems like it's turned a lot of brass in its time, which is obviously not hard cutting, but if anyone will know who's turned brass in the past, it gets everywhere and it sticks to everything, and it's really hard to clean off. So if you don't clean it off, and you've got bad wipers, or you've got no wipers on the machine, it's going to get in there and it's going to get stuck to everything. And the fact that the oiler wasn't working properly doesn't help either. Now this is the rear of the saddle. It's still on there, at least on the rear, and again underneath there you can see that this is actually cut in steps and ridged. So I'm guessing that this is fitted from new. Yeah, so that'll be on there from new, so that's what's going to be redone. These are the keeps for the saddle, front and rear. And then the other thing that I have done on here is the tailstock, because when this goes away to get reground and redone and resorted, I'm paying extra to have them align the tailstock with the headstock. I can do it when it comes back, but it's a lot of time and they're going to be better at it than I am. So for the difference, I decided it's more cost effective for me to pay them to do it. And then when I get the machine back, all I've got to do is level the actual machine. And as long as I level the machine true, everything else is going to be there. It's going to be as good as it's ever going to be, probably, before or without me messing around with it. So the tailstock needed to be good and in good condition. Now, when the hand wheel was fitted, it had a load of slop in it, and there was play in the actual quill. So you can see here, this has all been taken out. It's been cleaned. I can't really show. I have got photos, so I'll add them. But under there, this has been taken apart and separated, and it's all been cleaned. The brass clamp's been taken out. The screw for there has been taken out. The seal's been taken out. Now, everything was okay. There's the actual quill itself. That's like 75, so nearly 3-inch diameter quill. This is off the back of the tailstock. Those of you who have used one of these before, because it's a big old beast, that goes there, and it has an airline fitted and an oiler, like a drip feed oiler. So the airline comes into the bottom here, comes out of here, gets fed down into this port. That is drilled across and comes out of the ways under here. So at the same time as providing an air cushion to help you move this, because it is bloody heavy, it also oils the underneath of the flat and the V there that it rides on. So inside there is O-rings and a couple of seals. Took that apart, put new O-rings and seals in it. That's good. There's the new fittings that are going to go into it once it comes back. There's no point fitting them before it goes away. Now these are 2 bearings. You can see the style of bearing in there. And that sits on here and on the other side of the hand wheel. Now, the actual screw itself is probably okay, but if that'll focus in there, which it probably won't, it's split. This nut is actually cracked all the way around. Yeah, that is split all the way around there. These cameras aren't the best for focusing in on close stuff. Not overly keen on the Hero 7 anyway, to be fair. I thought it'd be better when I bought it, but it isn't. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to be replaced because I don't want there to be backlash in that. And they're £105 plus VAT, so that's not really expensive. There's the hand wheel. There's the brass inserts that clamp, another hand wheel, and the rear section. So they're all the pieces. Obviously, that's the quill. That's everything else for that. These are the bolts that go underneath and clamp it. As you can see, that's knackered. And this one is just what someone's lashed up. And again, absolutely ruined. So they're going to be replaced. So the tailstock will be good to go when the machine goes back to them. So as far as that goes, I've decided not to do the bearings in the head yet. Now, in theory, you'd want to do them first before it goes away. But I'm going away for a break soon. And I want the machine to go before I go away. So I'm not going to do them bearings. One, because once I had oil in, they sounded a lot better than they initially sounded when there was no oil in the machine and it was getting no oil. So we'll see what happens and I'll leave it. And in theory, if the rest of the machine was good and you changed the bearings, you wouldn't realign it in that sense anyway. You double check it and probably wouldn't have to tweak it. So the bearings are going to be done afterwards. The tailstock wanted to be done because obviously had a lot of slop in it because of the screw, and the clamps didn't clamp up on the bed, so I wanted that done first. This bar taken off the electrical cabinet and the pendant is ready to go. All the other stuff here I've cleaned. So here is all your oilers. Now, all the metering units have been ordered and they're going to be replaced. So is all the hosing. We've got all the pipe there, and we've also got new cables for all the switches and new wire for the motor. This is the start stop cycle button off the apron. That's okay. Forward reverse switch cabling. This is, it's just really old, so I'm going to replace it as a matter of course. This was the emergency stop cable, which intermittently had a fault and wouldn't let you take the machine out of emergency stop. Now in there you can see how much tape is on there, where it's actually split in 2 or 3 places. So they will get replaced. And then also going to replace, as you see the cable in there, this is the X-axis motor. The motor itself works fine, but once again, this cable is bad, and it does have some patches on it where it's split. The cable doesn't look damaged, but who knows, it's really old, so it's going to get replaced. This is the fan off of the oil cooler. Coolant pump, not cleaned them yet. We took the tool block off and I've had to clean up these. One of these was a little bit bent, but now I'll go back in and everything's nice. Now it's cleaned up. Took a long time to get them out, probably about an hour or so of messing around. They're the actual main parts of the block. Seen some damage. There's the main tool post. This is the box for the apron, which is what all your hand wheels and everything mounts in here. So everything is just been stripped off. Again, I'm not painting it, I just degrease everything. Going to put new bearings in wherever it's needed. X-axis ball screw bearings, and just going to replace it and put it all back. It's just so that when I'm working on it and when I'm putting it back together, it's clean. I don't want to go into the hours of painting it, as I mentioned before, but I don't want to get absolutely caked in crap when I'm putting it back together. And there's nothing worse than working on the machine or anything like that. It's just caked in oil and chips and coolant and crud from years ago. So all been degreased, all been cleaned, but that is how it's staying and that's how it's going back together. There's the hand wheels, emergency stop and the switches. I may or may not order another one of these. Now this is a jog wheel and you can see there, it does just stick. Now that bothers me in the sense of if I jog it and let go, I could crash into something because it might stay engaged, and I noticed that when the machine was powered up. They're just the back of the switches, the emergency stop, forward, reverse, and the start stop. This is obviously the bottom of the apron. This holds the Z-axis ball screw in here. So yeah, nothing super interesting, but all parts, all cleaned. Now we've got a load new, we've got new emergency stop buttons. We've got new pilot lights because you can barely see the other one. New enable switches. These are matched pairs for Z-axis ball screw bearings, X-axis ball screw bearings. And then we've got in here oil seals, new belts. And again, that's the cable. In this box here is a new plate to go on there. Obviously it doesn't need to go on yet. So yeah, that obviously shows why there's so much play and slop, and the fact that even when the gibs were tightened, to be fair, even if this bed was in a really good condition, which I did say, I didn't think so much the scoring or where was the issue, it's the fact it's scored makes it look worse than what it is. But the fact that this tersite, or whatever material this is worn down to next to nothing and is gone in places, it didn't matter what you're going to do. If you didn't know that was in that condition, there's no working with that machine like it is. So yeah, if you're going to buy from auction, be wary of what you buy. And I'll do a video when this is being loaded onto the lorry, because I'm hoping in the next couple of days I'll have to do some early starts or late finishes to get this done, because I've got lots of weather work to do as well. We'll get it stripped, we'll get it loaded, and then it'll be on its way. So yeah, cheers for watching. See you soon.